Hello, everybody. Welcome to Stewie's Thoughts. Stewie's Thoughts, a podcasto. Un podcasto. What is that? Portuguese? Yeah, what? Welcome to Stewie's Thoughts, a podcasto. Welcome to Stewie's Thoughts podcast, episode 68. Jesus. Another 2 more episodes, and I have reached episode 70. How mad is that? And then after that, another 30 more episodes, and boom, 100. If you're listening to this and you're thinking to yourself, hang on a second, I can only see from like episode 47, I think it is, onwards. Like, where's all the rest of them? In fact, let me just check, because I know on Spotify, it starts from like episode 47, I believe. Let me just have a look. What have we got? 49, right? So if you're listening to this on Spotify and you can only see from 49 onwards, there was a mix-up. I didn't have this RSS feed. Didn't even know what the hell it was. And then whenever I switched to Audio Boom, I lost all the episodes from 49 downwards. So like basically from episode 1 to 48, lost them all. The only place I didn't lose them was Apple Podcast. So if you want to listen to episode 1 to 48, then head over to Apple Podcast. If you don't have an iPhone, steal one. take one. See a little kid walking down the street, elbow the kid, right? Rob the iPhone, and then listen to episode 1 to 48, and then once you've done that, then give the phone back to the kid. Don't be evil, but yeah. So I was thinking of putting all 48 episodes back onto Spotify, but that would just mess everything up, because it's all like, episode 49, and then it would be, if I was to put episode 1 up again, I'll just leave it the way it is. So if you do want to listen to any of the previous episodes, like from 1 to 48, if you head over to my Apple Podcast and then just type in Stewie's Thoughts Podcast, they're all there. So they're all there. Right. Let's get stuck into it, shall we? Let's talk about time travel. If I don't like this episode, you know what I'll do? I'll just go back in time and redo it. Isn't that how it works? Right, play the intro. Strawberries. Can I get some more strawberries? I was speaking to Kirsty the other day, and I was like, more strawberries. Do one. Why now? Bloody thing. Let me turn that volume down. Yeah. Now, I should have said more strawberries. See, even saying that sounds weird. Can I get some more strawberry? How would you say that? What is wrong with me? Can I have some more strawberries? Why can't I say that? Have you got any strawberries? Yes. Yeah, I've got loads of strawberries. Oh, I don't know. Right, so there was something I wanted to bring up that I totally forgot to bring up on previous. This is what I've been up to recently. I was driving home from the office the other week. It was at night time. I was minding my own business. I was driving down the road. I got not that far away from my house. And all of a sudden, this big badger decided to run out in front of my car. And when I say big, this thing was like probably half the size of my car. And my car's like a 7-seater. It was huge. Now, I don't understand why it ran out in front of my car. Right? I had the high beams on. I was driving down the road. I was going within the speed limit. Before you start thinking to yourself, oh, he's probably speeding. I was going within the speed limit. High beams were on. Everything was grand. Then this thing just decided to run out in front of me. To the point where there was nothing I could do. I tried I did slam the brakes on. And that didn't help. And I ran over it. And, hang on. And I flattened it, basically. Now, one thing I one thing I will take away from this whole experience was the sound of it. It popped. Like, I heard this massive pop. I drove over it with the front tires, like the front wheels, and I heard this massive bang. You feel the little bump as you're going over it, and then pop. So it must have like exploded. Like, the pressure must have built it up on its stomach or something and just popped. Now, I felt bad right at the very beginning, but there was absolutely nothing I can do. Like, it ran out. It literally ran out as I was approaching it. So, even though I did slam my brakes on, still wouldn't have done anything. Because even with me slamming the brakes on, where I heard the pop, and basically I think where the car went over it, was the right-hand side. So, as I'm driving, so it went past the left-hand side wheel, and the right wheel went over it. And I was like, driving home, and I was thinking to myself, oh, I just ran over a badger. I felt bad for it. But then I thought to myself, like, it's seen me coming down the road. It's seen these big bright lights. Why run out in front of it? Like, it did it itself. So I did feel bad about it, but then I was like, thinking about it logically, I was like, well, there was absolutely nothing I could do. So then I started getting over it. Went home, parked up the car, and this was at night time. And then the next day, when I went back to the car to go to the office, I just see my bumper, and it was damaged. A massive, massive crack on the bumper, and now the bumper's sort of like hanging off now. So go on, ask me, do I feel bad about running over that badger now? No! Everybody's looking at my car thinking, my God, he's a bad driver. Look at the state of the front of his car. I'm like, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was the badger. And I was like, yeah, of course it was the badger. Why? No, it was the badger. But again, nothing I could do, so... But it was the sound of it. Pop. Pop. Ugh, right. Right, what have I been up to recently? Last night, I watched a movie. And it was the Donald Trump movie. So, it was on Netflix. And it's probably been there for years, I don't know. But it was called The Apprentice. Good movie, if I'm honest. So it's basically like how Donald Trump became what he was. It's nothing to do with like him being the president or anything. It's about him, how he got like his millions and stuff, or billions, whatever it is, and how he started like becoming this tycoon, and about his dad being like, I mean, no wonder Donald Trump has loads of like money, because his dad had loads of money. You know what I mean? I think his dad gave him like £1 million or something, or $1 million, sorry. But there was one disturbing. In fact, there was a couple of disturbing things about that movie. And one of them was the sex scene. So, like, Donald Trump was getting rid by this woman. And the guy, by the way, the guy who plays Donald Trump, amazing actor. I don't even know who he is. I'm gonna have to find him. Because he was it was so... You know, it's not Donald Trump, but some parts of it you were like, God, he really does look like him. The Apprentice movie. I wonder when it was out. But he started getting rid by this woman, and I was just like, gross. Nobody wants to see Donald Trump getting rid. 2024, so it's quite recent. Oh, I thought it was like an old thing. But I would, it's on Netflix. I would definitely recommend watching it, and then skipping past the part where Donald Trump's being rid, because it's disgusting. Because it really looks like Donald Trump getting rid. But then there's a bit in it where he rapes a woman. I don't know if... Is that true? When I say rape a woman, his missus. So the girl he was going out with, I don't know, I was barely... But he forces her down on the ground and starts like riding her without her asking, which is rape, isn't it? So I don't know, is that true? But then this guy... what was the guy who like... trains Donald Trump, if you like. What was his name? Roy Conan or something? But that guy was a bit of a madman. Sebastian Stan, that's the one that plays Donald Trump. Great actor. I mean, without all that Trump haircut and stuff, like he doesn't look anything like Trump, but see when he was like, when he had all that there, Donald Trump wig and the suit and all, he looked like him. But he's Romanian. Romanian United States citizen. What movies has he been in? I don't know. He's in What? He's in The Martian? No. What role did he play in The Martian? I don't know, but he's a good actor. But that other guy, Cohn, Roy Cohn. I mean, miserable looking guy, but I think he was like he died in 1986. I was 1 when he died. But I don't want to spoil it too much, right? But if you're looking for something to watch and you don't mind Donald Trump, because a lot of people I would say hate Donald Trump, but if you don't mind watching something with him in it, I'd suggest watching it because it's actually a good it was a good movie. There you go. What else? So, do you know something? I don't really binge watch. I don't scroll on TikTok or anything, right? But last night I did. And one thing I love about this time of the year is these Grinch videos. You know them ones where they like completely traumatize children? Like these kids and their family, they're all like having a nice get together and it's all, nicey, and oh, do you want a chocolate? Here's your present, here's an early Christmas present. And the kid's like, thank you, mummy. Then all of a sudden the door bursts open. And all of a sudden this big green thing comes in and starts taking the presents and starts grabbing the kids, and the kids' faces, like, you can literally see childhood trauma unfold before your very eyes. And let me tell you something, funny as hell. Absolutely. I was in stitches. I was like pausing the video just at the point, where the kids was like really scared. Like the wide-eyed and like the scary look on the face. I was pausing it and I was like, look at that kid. That kid's so frightened. Like, it's mad. It's mad how that's a thing, isn't it? And then obviously with the algorithm, I watched one video and I was like, God, that was a brilliant video. I laughed my ass the whole way through that, watching these kids being traumatized for the rest of their lives. And then flicking through and then, oh, there's another one. And I started watching that. And then I was there for about, because there's like whole pages, if that's what you want to call it, dedicated to like these Grinch videos. And I just sat there. I must have sat there for about 2 hours just watching these kids being kidnapped, essentially. I mean, the adults are like laughing and stuff, and they're like, ha! But these kids are like trying to fight this. Like, he'll grab one kid, and then the bigger brother, who's only like 3 or 5 or whatever, is like fighting this guy for fighting for life. And all the adults are around with their cameras recording it, and they're like, this is so funny. And the kids are like, mommy! It's hilarious. Hilarious. But yet again, traumatizing for the kids, but like hilarious. Right. Anyway, so I'm going to quickly, because we're almost at 15 minutes already. Jesus. So, in fact, I'll probably leave that because we're almost at 15 minutes and it'll probably take me about 15 minutes talking about this. But, so I'll keep that for the next one. So I started doing TikTok videos again, TikTok live streams, because of Christmas coming up, So I was like getting all these Christmas orders out there. And what is it with this algorithm stuff? See my live streams, right? Per live stream, I was selling about 30 caricatures in about 2 hours. The views were like a mad. Like there was like 20,000 people watching my lives. They're like, and then at any one point there was like 250 people. Your video, your live stream peaked at like 300 people watching. See now, 9, 10 watching. I'll do a 2.5 hour live or 2 hour live or whatever. 1,000 people watched, and I'm like, what the hell's happened to TikTok Live? Like, what's happened to it? Ever since this whole ban in America, because I have a wall, right, with all the caricatures on there. I called it the caricature wall of absolute fame, where I will draw somebody on my live stream, and then with the picture, I'll hold it up. They'll get a little screenshot of it, so they can change it to a profile picture or do whatever, print it off, and then I would put it on the caricature wall of fame. That's what I called it, right? If you don't know if you want to get some contents, if that's the right way of saying it, go on to YouTube caricatures on TikTok and you'll see me there. I'm actually going to do a live later on today. So today's the 11th. Oh, it's 11th of the 11th, 2025. We will remember them. But yeah, I'm going to do a live later on. And what was I going with that? Yeah. And then because I got so many like Americans and people from all around the world were watching the live stream, I changed the name to the International Caricature Wall of Absolute Fame. But see now, ever since this like ban thing in America, TikTok has just died. Like the live stream has died. It seems to be regional now. Like before it was like, you look at the analytics and it was like, 20% of this country was watching it, 10% of this country was watching it. See now, it's like 94% from the UK, 96% UK, all these live streams. So it's literally like TikTok live stream has just died. It's not what it used to be. So I'm thinking to myself, is there any point doing it anymore? And if I'm not doing it anymore, then I don't need this big office that I've got, because it's basically a small office but a TikTok studio attached to it. And the lease is up on February, which is, a couple of months away, a few months away. So at the minute, I'm debating whether to continue doing these TikTok live streams or just pack it in. So, yeah, what a depressing, hang on. What a depressing, so TikTok live stream has died. There's no point doing it anymore. Them days are long gone. Which is a shame, because I was making an absolute fortune on there. But now I'm struggling to make 40 quid per live. So it's like, what's the point anymore? What's the point? Wow, that's so annoying, that one. But who knows? There might be another version of TikTok coming out in the near future. That's what tends to happen, doesn't it? A new platform comes out, and then if it has like a live stream type thing, I mean, there's Twitch and all them other ones, but they're not as good as TikTok live stream was. But anyway, who cares? Let's talk about time travel. Play the intro. Where's the intro? I'm depressing myself here. Right, here we go. Play the intro. I don't know, is that too short? It feels shorter than the last one. Right, time travel. Is it possible? What do you guys think? Well, I've got an expert here, Professor Brian Cox. I love this guy. And he's going to explain time travel. I've seen different videos of him talking about time travel, and he puts it perfectly. So I think I'm going to play this video, and yeah, we'll take it from there, shall we? Play this video.
I'm just actually wondering, I've always wanted to time travel, and I thought, well, if somebody in the future, like maybe in 1,000,000 or 1,000 years, could figure out how to build a time machine, then why can't they come back to 2014
Full-on Australian accent. Build a time machine.
and then show us how to build it?
I'm sorry, you're going to have to answer that one as well.
Well, we spoke about this, actually. Yeah. I think we agree on this. It's
Yes, we do.
no, you can't travel into the past. I'm certain of that.
Well, could you explain why? Nalini, we'll start with you.
Well, I don't know about whether there's an arrow that prevents you from going to the past or only into the future. But mathematically, I think that there are many, many possible answers to these questions. If I may, if you take...
Now, I heard a thing, right? time moves forward, right? It doesn't move backwards. It doesn't move sideways or up or down. It moves forward. So you can't go back in time. However, you potentially could go forward in time. Wow, I'm starting to confuse myself already. Jesus.
Just a three-dimensional cube. And you look at one corner of this three-dimensional cube, and then you compress one corner down to the diagonally opposite corner. Then what you do is you flatten the cube and it becomes a hexagon. If you take that structure, which is hexagonally symmetric, it turns out that these types of symmetries are in crystals, and there are a very few number of these regular symmetries that are exhibited in crystals.
Wow, she's perfect way to explain this, love, right? Perfect way. Let's get Brian Cox talking about this now. Why are you making it so complicated?
In 2 dimensions.
Like
now,
even the woman,
if you think about increasing the
even
number,
the woman in the crowd was like looking at her, going, "What are you talking about? If you get a cube and then you flatten it, it becomes a hexagon. A hexagon. Look,
dimensions now go to 3, 4, 5, 6. Presto. Around 7 and 8. There are exceptional new structures that come up that only exist when you get to 7 and 8 and maybe 9 dimensions.
No, everybody in that crowd is like, "What is she talking about?"
Are you following this?
See, nobody knows what this woman's talking about. Get perfect.
I'm starting to hyperventilate because you're talking maths.
I'm sorry. But I'm just saying that we're living in what we think is a 4-dimensional world where time is one of the dimensions. But there are many, many possible structures in many, many dimensions which could give rise to time travel if you knew how to navigate around the symmetries.
See, I
I get it.
Like, what? She even explained herself there, and everybody else was like, "Yeah, we still don't know what you're talking about, love." Right? Here's Brian Cox. This should make sense now.
Brian.
First of all, it's certainly true to say that in Einstein's theory, where you've got 4-dimensional space, then you're prevented from travelling back in time. Actually, by the speed of light, it fits into the geometry in that way. You're right, though. You can imagine wormholes and these ideas that you can tunnel through and take shortcuts. It'd be like going from London to Australia by going through the Earth rather than around the 2-dimensional surface on the edge. So
See, that's why he's good. That's a perfect way to explain it.
So convenient.
But I've heard Stephen Hawking has a thing called the chronology protection conjecture, and the conjecture is, from a physics perspective, is that, as you say, it seems to make no sense. It's not a way to build a universe to allow you to be able to travel back in time and prevent your parents from meeting before you're born or whatever you do. So there's a conjecture that the laws of nature will always be such that time travel into the past is forbidden. Now, that's a conjecture at the moment. It's true in what's called Einstein's special theory of relativity, and it might be true or not in his general theory. We're not sure, because you can have these shortcut things. But I think most theoretical physicists would say we'll conjecture, as Stephen Hawking does, that the...
Tell you something. If I had a time machine, I would go back in time and not play this video.
Physics protects the past.
Can I just say then that logic suggests that even if you can travel into the future, we'll never know.
Oh, you can travel into the future?
Yes, but...
Even in Einstein's theory, as far as you want.
Yes, but no one will actually do it, because it would require a great scientific effort and a lot of money, but no one would ever be able to prove
we do it.
That they'd been in the future.
It's been proved. So moving clocks run slow.
Has it been proved? Yes,
moving clocks run slow relative to stationary ones. So if you were to...
So I heard about that. So if you have a clock on the equator and then a clock on the top of the Earth, the clock at the equator will run slower than the one that's on the top of the Earth. Confused yet? So if you have 2 clocks in your house, one is downstairs and one is upstairs, the one that's downstairs will run slower than the one that's upstairs because of the gravity of it, like the gravitational effect. But this is like, I think it's so minute that it would take like 1 billion years or whatever to get 1 second. Do you know what I mean? So it's not, I don't know. Let's go back to this.
Across this studio now and run back and sit down, and we measured the time on your watch very accurately. It would your watch relative to mine would have run slower. And that's actually central to the way the satellite navigation system works. It requires to be so that's true, and that's part of Einstein's theory.
But you couldn't, or you wouldn't. Let's say the scientific community wouldn't do this. Take a human being and try and put them into the future.
I'd do it.
Because what would be the point of it?
Well, you do that. You just do. But if you, let's say you fly, I know a number, which is the speed the protons go around the Large Hadron Collider. So they go around the Large Hadron Collider at 99.999999% the speed of light. At that speed, time passes 7,000 times more slowly for the protons than it does for the experimenters sat watching them going around, and that's relativity. So every time someone gets on a rocket and goes to the moon and comes back, their time will have passed slightly more slowly than the people on Earth. Therefore, they'll have gone into the future.
Now, I'm just going to go, well, first of all... Just forget about those 3 letters and that drug that you were talking about earlier. But are you disappointed to find you can't go back in time? Because
Right, there you go. So you can go forward in time, but you can't go back in time. Even I'm confused here. So like I was saying, so time travel, time only moves forward. So your clock, you know, it goes clockwise. And it'll just keep going clockwise forever because time moves forward. So basically what he was saying, if you can go faster than time, then your time would slow down relative to the person who's like looking at the clock, if you know what I mean. So basically, if I get in a rocket that can go the speed of light and I go to, I don't know, Andromeda galaxy and then come back, for me it would be like 2 weeks. But on Earth, it would be like, I don't know, 2,000 years. So for me, if I leave Earth and come back 2 weeks later, it'll be like 2,000 years later here. So I would have come back in the future. And that's apparently, that's possible. Dun, dun, dun. I need a button like that. Dun, dun, dun. Where is it? Well, we'll do that one. So time travel, theoretically, is possible. Did you know that? But, I mean, going back in time, like, I touched on this with the ChatGPT in the last episode. She was like, if you were to go back in time and change something, what would you change? And I was like, well, I wouldn't spend so much money on a car. You know, I would spend all that thousands of pounds on something else, like a holiday or something, and just drive around in a crappy car. That's what I would do if I could go back in time. But would you want to go back in time and change things? Or just be like, right, well, it is what it is, so let's think about the future. That's what you should be doing. What about pausing time? Can you pause time? There was a very popular kids' TV program that was out when I was a kid called, what's it called? Bernard's Watch, right? Bernard's Watch. So basically this kid, let me see if I can get it up here. Bernard's Watch, British TV show. Wow, it was like 1997, sci-fi. So there's this little kid called Bernard, and he had this pocket watch. I mean, you wouldn't have that nowadays, would you? I mean, even in 1997, you would have like a kid's wristwatch or something, would you? Why a pocket watch? Nowadays, it would be like an iPhone pause time or something, they would call it. But this guy would like click this little button and then like pause it. How old's Bernard now, actually? I don't know. Where's Bernard? Where's this? There's no like actual name. David Peachy? How old is David Peachy now? Doesn't say his age. He's probably in his like 40s or something. I'm gonna see if I can get like a Bernard's Watch. There's a movie? No. Was there? Bernard's Watch the movie? No, it's not. Bernard's Watch was not a movie, right? Is there like an intro or something? See if we can get like an intro. We'll play that. I mean, I vaguely remember this program. Vaguely. What is going on with this phone? I bloody upgraded the iPhone to like iOS 26 or whatever it is. And see, ever since I did that, this phone is just, it keeps not working. Like I was searching for something there and then it just comes up blank. If I play a video, it'll not play it. And then I'll have to go back and then play it again. There's like bugs on this new iOS thing that needs to, they need to like bring a new one out that fixes bugs. Every time you get like an update, it's like iOS 26.1.1 fixes bugs. So I might just never, ever upgrade ever again. Right? Here's Bernard's Watch intro. Nice jumper, mate. I'm gonna upload this onto Stewie Thoughts Podcast Instagram page and Facebook. So if you want to look at this little kid walking through a field and then all of a sudden seeing a pocket watch on the ground, wearing a stripy jumper, total 90s nostalgia here. But if you want to see this, I'm definitely gonna put it up after this episode. Look at the walk on him. So he's walking through a field. He picks up a watch that was laying on the grass, just randomly. Now he's showing it to the camera. And then there you go. The crappiest intro ever. So he gets this watch. I don't know. Does it like go back in time as well? Or I can't remember this. But anyway, this little kid has a watch, right? Pauses time. Now, if you could do that, I mean, there's a lot of like weirdos out there that would be like, oh, I'd pause time and then suck that woman's titties, you know, them creeps. But I'm a prankster. Like I'd be pranking people. Like you'd be talking to me and then all of a sudden I just disappear and reappear behind you and be like, what'd you say? And you'd be like turning around and then I'll pause it and then move and then unpause it. But how would that work? Like you can't just pause time. Because like you would pause like the whole universe, wouldn't you? You would pause like the you know, the orbits of the planets and all that kind of stuff? Or would you just pause everybody around you? Like, how would that work? Because, like, if you pause time, then everything, the vehicles that's moving on the motorway would all have to stop. Everything would just stop, apart from you. And then what happens if you, like, pause time and then do something and then you can't find the watch and you're like, damn, I got to find this watch and unpause time. And then what if you can't find it for like years and years and years? And then you unpause, you find it, you finally find it. It's always the last place you look. You know, it's probably like underneath the sofa or something. And then you unpause time again and then you're like 70 years old. And you're you know, you pause time when you're like 12 and then you unpause it and you're like 48. Your mum's like, what the hell? Yeah, I age fast, mum. But like, I mean, I don't even know why I'm Googling this because I know the answer. There's no way in hell you could pause time. Can you pause time? No, it's not possible to stop time because it's a fundamental aspect of reality. So there you go, Bernard. Short pause time. But I mean, what other things apart from like adultery, and then pranking people? What other benefits would you have of pausing time? Suppose like if you were, you know, in a car and it was about to crash and you could see that it's about to crash and you're like, oh my God, pause time. And you're like, oh, take 5 minutes here. Oh, right. Okay, assess the situation. Get everybody out the vehicle. Out of both vehicles. Set them on the side of the road. And unpause time. Boom. They all, you know, the cars crashed together. And everyone's like, well, what happened there? And then you just act dumb. Oh, I don't know. We were all going to die, but now look at us, we're fine. Right. What other? So that's a time travel. I mean, I love time travel movies. Time Machine. Like all of them ones. Like, you know, Time Machine, where he like, his wife dies and then he tries to bring her back by going back in time, but he saves her, but then she dies again. And then he realizes that no matter how many times he brings her back, she'll always die. So he stops it and then he time travels into like the future. That's a good movie. I think there's a newer version, wasn't there? And then there was like an older version, like back in the 60s or something. So yeah, in fact, before we move on, there's one thing that always... We'll talk about time travel movies, but before we move away from the time travel TV shows, there was always this little segment in Big Bang Theory where they talk about Back to the Future and how like it's not possible or something. Hang on, I'm going to see if I can get it and we'll play it. Right, I've got it here. This thing, right, is very confusing. It even confuses me, but I watched this so many times and I still don't get what they're talking about, right? But I'm going to play it and then we'll talk about it.
Hold on, pause. Something doesn't make sense. Look, in 2015, Biff steals the sports almanac and takes the time machine back to 1955 to give it to his younger self.
Right. So I understand that.
As soon as he does that, he changes the future. So the 2015 he returns to would be a different 2015, not the 2015 that Marty and Doc were in.
That makes sense, doesn't it? So if you're in the future, if you get in a time machine and go into the past and give yourself a betting book that makes you rich, and then you go back into the future again, then that future would be different because you've altered the future. All right?
This is Hot Tub Time Machine all over again. If future Biff goes back to 2015 right after he gives young Biff the almanac, he could get back to the 2015 with Marty and Doc in it, because it wasn't until his 21st birthday that 1955 Biff placed his first bet.
Whoa. Is placed right?
What do you mean?
Is placed the right tense for something that would have happened in the future of a past that was affected by something from the future?
Had will have placed?
See, I'm lost. I'm lost now. But I get what he was saying about, like, so Biff goes back, gives him the sports almanac. By the way, I've got one of them. I've got a replica. It's in the office. It's class. And then he doesn't place his bet until he's 21. But even then, that timeline, if he places his bet in 2021, when he turned 21, that would still change the future, wouldn't it?
That's my boy.
Okay, so it wasn't until his 21st birthday that Biff will have placed his first bet and made his millions. That's when he altered the timeline.
Yeah, but he haven't placed it.
Yeah, so he altered the timeline then, but that's still a future that he goes... Oh my god. Oh, wrong button. I don't know. I'm just gonna let this play on.
What? Unlike Hot Tub Time Machine, this couldn't be more simple. When Biff gets the almanac in 1955, the alternate future he creates isn't the one in which Marty and Doc Brown ever used the time machine to travel to 2015. Therefore, in the new timeline, Marty and Doc never brought the time machine...
Wait. Is brought right?
Marty and Doc never had brought?
Confusing.
I don't know, you did it to me.
This is like a classic.
I'm going with it.
Scene
Marty
from
and Doc never
Big Bang.
had brought the time machine to 2015. That means 2015 Biff could also not had brought the almanac to 1955 Biff. Therefore, the timeline in which 1955 Biff gets the almanac is also the timeline in which 1955 Biff never gets the almanac. And not just never gets. Never have, never hasn't, never hasn't.
Is right?
Right, flipping hell. I don't even know. I'm confused. The brain is hurting me right now. My brain is hurting. But hey, let's talk about movies, shall we? What's your favourite time travel movie? I mean, he mentioned one there, the hot tub time machine. That's an alright one. I like, obviously, the main one, isn't it? Back to the Future. Back to the Future 2, I think, is better than Back to the Future 1 because he actually goes into the future. I would rather go into the future than go into the past. And so for me, the second one is good. I mean, the third one's good as well. In fact, they're all good. But if I was to put it in order, Back to the Future 2 is number 1. Back to the Future 1 is number 2. Bloody hell. And Back to the Future 3 is number 3. Funny how it works, isn't it? What would be the... Like, they should bring out another one. I know, like, who's the guy? Michael J. Fox. I know he's not in a great sort of position to be in a game, but... And I suppose if they did bring it out, a new one, and then it was different actors, it wouldn't be as good, would it? You could do, like, a plot thing where, like, Doc... Or use AI or something to make Marty. No, I mean, kind of would work, wouldn't it? What would you call it? What would be the opposite way? Front to the past? Back to the future? Front to the past? Forward to the past? Great Scott, we need to go forward to the past. Hey, Marty, we need to go front to the past. We need to go forward. To where? To the past. I mean, the DeLorean. Did you know that that car was actually built in Northern Ireland? Did you know that? The Irish built that car. So it was apparently it was a big flop, that car, the DeLorean. So when they made it and they brought it out, they thought it was going to be like very popular. Turns out it wasn't. It was a major flop until that movie. So that movie used the car, and now, I think now, to get one of them is something like a 2-year waiting list. And there's a massive thing about, like, the DeLorean now, like, it's like an iconic car, only because it was in that movie. If it wasn't in that movie, you probably wouldn't even know what a DeLorean is. And it's apparently they're, like, really slow. But then I did see a video not long ago where somebody put a Ferrari engine into it. Like, I bet that thing goes. But what an amazing sort of time machine that is. What would I do? What would I make as a time machine? It would be something that would have to move, because the time machine travels through time. So if it was like a fixed thing, like, does Doctor Who travel in time? I've never watched Doctor Who, but he's got like a phone box. So if you go into a phone box and you go in, if you go forward in time, you're going to be in the future, but where you actually are. So I think Back to the Future got it right. Having a vehicle that can move as well as go back and forward in time. Do you know what I mean? I suppose a car would probably be the best thing, wouldn't it? You get in the car, and then you travel through time, and then whenever you arrive at that year, you can just drive. But then a watch, just clicking a watch or fast forwarding a watch. I don't. What other things could you have? A sofa, just sit in a sofa and then just time travel, and then, or like a wheelchair. I don't know. What other things could you have? I suppose a car is probably the best thing, wouldn't it be? I can't think of anything else. I actually can't. Time travel. There's a lift, isn't there? Like, if you get into... I mean, that didn't travel through time. I'm trying to think of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That lift that goes up, down, left, right, back, forward. Something like that. All right. Maybe like a drone. Like a helicopter type thing that can fly or hover and then change time, and then you land and then you're in the future or something. I don't know. Oh, one movie I like, and you can actually get this on YouTube. I'm pretty sure I brought this up before. It's called The Langoliers. It's a Stephen King movie, and it's a movie, but I think it was like a 2-part program thing that is like a movie. I don't know, but it goes on for like 4 hours or something. But it's a very good movie. I'm going to call it a movie because it's like a movie, and it's actually on YouTube. So if you type in The Langoliers on YouTube, if you want something to watch, it's actually pretty good. So they go into, it's an old film, like, so if you don't mind watching an old film, But they basically, they go through, I don't want to spoil it too much, but they're all in this commercial flight. And I believe it's in America. They go from one place to another, Houston to Boston or something it is. And basically there's like a rip in the time continuum, whatever you want to call it. And then they go through it and then people disappear and then turns out they're in the past and all this kind of stuff. I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's actually pretty good. And then the Langoliers are like these creatures that eat the past. And then they have to like get back into the future. Well, sorry, the present time before these Langoliers get them. It's good. It's a good movie. The Langoliers. Check it out, guys, if you're wanting something to watch tonight with the missus or with your significant other. Right? What have we touched on? Big Bang. I've already talked about what the future would be like. You know, if you were to go into the future, let's say 100 years from now, what would it be like? I did a whole episode about this, but I mean, there's a lot of red flags right now, like a lot of telltale signs that the future, everyone is just going to be controlled. You know, you're going to have this barcode on your wrist and you have to scan that for credits because money's not going to be a thing in the future. Can you imagine that, like going into the future and then, you know, I've got a, what?
Is this, no, it's a wrong one, monster.
This is the one.
Right. Can you imagine going into the future and then bringing money with you? Like dollars and like cash, should I say? Can you imagine going into the future and then going, oh, right. What year is it here? It's 20, 30, 40, 55 or whatever. I don't know, some 100 years into the future, you turn up and you're flying saucer thing that's like travels through time and then you land on this planet Earth, but it's like, you know, 100 years in the future and you're hungry and then you're like, oh, I'll spend some cash here in this little futuristic chippy, like this futuristic, you know, shop that sells food, and you walk in, you go, do you take cash? And the future person will be like,
What do you mean? What's cash?
Cash, you know, dollar bills.
Dollar bills. Never heard of it. What is a dollar bill?
That's what it'd be like. There'd be no such thing as cash. Like, there'll be some sort of like credit system. And then, you know, if you don't do what you're told, you will lose your credits or they'll get paused or something. You know what I mean? That's the way the future's going to be. I've done a whole episode about this, but when I think about that, about the control, that doesn't excite me about the future. But if there wasn't that sort of controller, like controlling the future, then we'll tell you what we need. We need a World War III that wipes humanity out, and there's only like 1,000 people left, and then we rebuild society again, and then, you know, we go back to trade. So like, I'll give you some bread if you give me some milk, you know, because we can't print money off and all that. But then I think if that happened over thousands of years, over thousands of years, it'll just go back to the way it was, like cashless, and it's our destiny. I think of the future, I used to be excited about it when I was a kid, but seeing what's happening now with, you know, these passports and online stuff, everything's just going to get controlled. But could you live a life without technology and stuff? Because that's what the control is, isn't it? It's digital. So you could, in theory, go around that by removing everything digital in your life. And then just, you know, living off the land and stuff. that's a way you could avoid it. And then trade, where there's no money involved. Or I don't know, there should be like, I just don't, I did a whole episode about it, but I don't like the future, like, as a way, like, the way I think about it now is not how I thought it would be when I was younger. I was expecting, you know, flying cars and everything was peaceful and all that kind of stuff, but it's just going to be like, the government's just going to control absolutely everything about you. Everything. Now we're talking conspiracy theories now. Jesus. What other movies is there? Time machine movies? Time travel movies. What would be the best one? I just think Back to the Future. And then Time Cop is a good one. With Jean-Claude Van Damme. That's a good one. I don't know, what other time travel movies is there? Interstellar, that's a good one. I've seen that. That's a Looper. About time. Is that about time travel? The Time Machine, classic. The Time Traveler's Wife. Never heard of it. Edge of Tomorrow. If that's the one I think that is, I hate that movie. Tom Cruise. Let me just have a little look-see. I'm pretty sure Edge of Tomorrow. I mean, it's got 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, but I hate that movie. If it's the one I'm thinking of, it really frustrated me because it was one of them movies, you know, like you go through the day and then when you go to sleep and wake up, it's the same day again, but then you do it differently. And then it's just the same day over and over and over again, and they're just tweaking things. I hate that. I absolutely hate that. Like, I remember watching that movie going, this is really doing my head in. Oh, he goes to sleep. Oh, look, the same alarm goes off. He gets up. Oh, you know, the same thing is on TV. Oh, the same car drives past his house. And then he alters it a little bit because something tragic happens. Does he get shot or something? Or somebody dies? I don't know. I just remember watching it going, I hate this movie. The Arrival, that's not a time travel. Oh, how the hell did I forget about this one? Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. How did I forget that? The second one, though, I think is better. The Bogus Journey one. But that's time travel. Oh, man, do you know something? Guess what I'm watching tonight? You got it. Groundhog Day. Is that a time travel one? I don't know. Click with Adam Sandler. That's a good one. He, basically like Bernard's Watch. He pauses things, doesn't he? Star Trek. Is that a time travel one? I don't know. Planet of the Apes. Get your hands off me, you damn dirty ape. What other ones? Fifth Element. Is that a time travel one? I don't know. Is it? Flight of the Navigator. Why am I not? Why have I forgotten these? The Flight of the Navigator. Again, brought that up in a previous podcast with Kirsty, who didn't know what it was, and then I just repeated myself. I was like, Flight of the Navigator. And then she was like, oh yeah, I remember it now. Oh, I've got a voice for that, actually.
Oh yes, I remember that now.
Right, what else? What can we finish on here? I know, I'll play the advert. I keep forgetting about this bloody advert. I'll play the advert and then we'll finish off with something spectacular. If you don't like this advert, guys, you know the score. Just double tap your whatever you're listening to. Skip a minute, basically. Hello, everybody. This podcast is sponsored by uTunes. Looking for something to make your wedding day extra special? Maybe you're hosting a corporate event or even planning a birthday party or a jago or a bar mitzvah. The list goes on. Have you thought about hiring a caricature artist? Well, look no further than uTunes. uTunes offers a professional, full-time, multi-award-winning caricature artist on hand to draw and entertain you and your guests. Not only will they leave with a very unique keepsake from your event, they will also be entertained by the eye-watering, side-splitting stand-up comedy performed by the artist while he draws. Having a caricature artist at your event will definitely make it a unique experience for your guests. uTunes covers all over Britain and the Channel Islands, and their prices are reasonable and affordable. If you want more information about this, please get in contact with them through their website, utunes.co.uk. That's the letter U, then TOONS.co.uk, or just simply Google uTunes. You can find them on all social media platforms as well. So get in touch, guys, and hire a caricature artist for your event. Back to the podcast. Right, I've got a video here about a guy who claims that he's a time traveler. So this is a video from Facts Verse on YouTube, and it's titled, "This man said he traveled to the year 2749, and he's made some disturbing claims about the future." Right, here we go. You ready to get your ribs tickled here?
Facts Verse presents
Facts Verse.
This man said he traveled to the year 2749, and he made some disturbing claims.
I mean, very specific date, 2749. I mean, why not like 2750? I don't know. A very, 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 very precise date. Maybe he's making it precise to, make it more real.
About the future. Before we get into our video, jump down to the comments and let us know.
No, I won't jump in the comments.
The book is about a Victorian.
I don't care about your book.
The late Stephen Hawking believed that one day man could travel through time. Some people claim that time travel journeys have already happened. Al Bielek was known as an unusual child. He was born in 1927, and he was brilliant. He could recite things that he just read word for word, which earned him the nickname Walking Encyclopedia. His ability to remember and understand
Yo, what's up, Walking Encyclopedia? How's it going?
Was incredible. He claimed to have been able to have overheard a conversation when he was 9 months old, and he says that he understood the whole conversation.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, this guy's full of absolute crap. He's full of... Right, let's continue.
Al lived a relatively normal life until he saw the 1984 film The Philadelphia Experiment. He didn't see it when it...
Never seen that movie. The Philadelphia Experiment? If it was about time travel, I like time travel movies. I'm going to watch that.
Was first released. It wasn't until 1988 that he saw them.
Oh, it's got your woman from RoboCop. You know, the woman cop? When I was young, like, I had a massive crush on her. I don't know what her name is. But she's, whenever I used to watch RoboCop, I was like, God, she's beautiful. Maybe it was the uniform. I don't know.
In the film, a group of sailors was on the deck of the USS Eldridge during World War II.
I mean, does this guy...
The U.S. Navy wanted to hide their ships, and they thought that they had a way to do it.
Is he going to talk?
In the
I want to
movie,
hear
the
him
sailors
talk.
on board the vessel disappeared and were sent back in time. After seeing the film, Al felt something strangely familiar. He felt like he was suppressing something. He tried a variety of New Age treatments, and many long-buried memories came back to him. When Al's memories came back to him, he discovered that he was born Edward Cameron in 1916. The people who he knew as his parents were legal guardians assigned to him by government officials. He also had a biological brother named Duncan, who he hadn't seen since he suppressed his memories. He says that when his memories came back, he discovered that the Philadelphia experiment was real, and he was a part of it. He says he and his brother enlisted in the project.
Wow, imagine loving a movie so much you go insane.
During World War II, and everything started in 1931. When the tests were carried out in 1943, he says that he and his brother were there. Al says that a group of scientists was working on hiding U.S. ships from Nazi U-boats. They were John Hutchison, John von Neumann, and Nikola Tesla. By 1940, they did have some success with hiding smaller vessels, and 3 years later, they worked to hide the USS Eldridge, a much larger vessel. According to Al, on July 22nd, there was a serious problem. He says the ship did disappear,
right, so
but after 15 minutes...
I want to hear this guy speak.
...jumped overboard, who had aged 40 years. Al claims the men went through time again, and they used axes to destroy the generators on the ship. It began to stabilize, and the rift in time...
Right, I've got a different video here, a little shorter one. Exclusive! Exclusive, exclusive, exclusive! I got that button here somewhere. Exclusive! I really need to work on these buttons. Right, this guy claims to be a time traveler, goes to the year 2042. I mean, that's literally around the corner. And it's not good for Arsenal fans. So what?
This man claims to be a time traveler.
They pushed the button and said, have fun in the future. This is the photo that I took.
We sat down in a secure location as he told us his story.
Hello, my name is and in the year 2004, I was sent on a top secret mission to the year 2042.
This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is Joe on YouTube. Joe, Joe. But this is what I was after. Some psychopath claiming, hiding his voice, hiding his identity. Why would you do that?
About to show you may shock you.
The image is slightly blurry due to time travel distortion, but what we can clearly see is that it's not good news for fans of a certain North London soccer team.
Arsene Wenger is still the manager of Arsenal Football Club. I you not. Nobody knows how this is even possible, but I've seen it with my own eyes.
It's a piss take, this one.
Did Liverpool win anything in the future?
No, Liverpool don't win anything in
There we go. How crap was that? I think I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. I'm gonna go and build myself a time traveling machine and turn back time and remove this episode. I could just literally just delete it, couldn't I? But time travel. You can go forward in time, but you can't go back in time. Why would you want to go back in time anyway? Right. Cheers for listening, guys. And Kirsty will be back soon, I think, and I think tomorrow I might see her. I'm not too sure, but I want to practice doing this video call thing, and then hopefully in the next couple of episodes I'm going to actually have some guests on here, because I can literally have guests from all around the world. I can just video call them, and then it'll come on here, and as long as it sounds good, then I'm going to do it, and I've already put the feelers out there, and I've spoke to a few people, some people in America, UK, Australia. I spoke to a few people, and I was like, do you want to come on this Stewie Stars podcast? And they're all like, yeah, let's do it. So I'm just going to do some experiments with the phone. I'm just never here when Kirsty's here, and she's never here whenever I'm here. But I'm going to video call her, do like a little tester, like a little 5-minute podcast. I'm not going to upload it or anything, but I'm going to do like a little 5-minute one. And then if I can tweak the sound quality to make it sound really good from both ends, because when I did it, I did an initial test, and you could tell it was somebody on the phone. Do you know what I mean? But if I can figure out how to make it sound really good for the other person on the other line, then we're in business. Because it's harder to do this podcast on my own than it is with somebody else. It's a lot easier if I have Kirsty on here, because then we can just chat. Do you know what I mean? But see when you're doing it by yourself, it's a lot harder, I think. And I don't think it's as funny when I'm doing it on my own. I think it's more funnier if I have somebody on. So I don't know whether to stay here today actually and test it out. I might do that. And I'll see if Kirsty wants to do an episode later on, actually. I was going to go to the office. Do I need to go today? I don't think I do. I might just not go to the office today and then go tomorrow. Just trying to plan my day here. What am I going to do? I don't know. I'll figure it out. But there might be another episode coming later on. If there's another episode comes on with Kirsty, I'll stay in the house. If there is no other episode later on today, then I went to the office, so there you go. But I do want to... I'll figure it out, right? Cheers. Peace be with you guys, and see you in the next episode. Peace. Where's my bloody intro? Right, see you later, guys.